watching News to the News with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Gary Liberatore. We are beginning this morning with breaking news out of Rome. There is a fire at the Countryside in the Weather Center, and Eric, a very cold morning for those firefighters for sure.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the wind chills below zero. It is an Arctic morning yet again. In fact, let's take a look at those temperatures across the area. Yes, no doubt about it. It is a cold morning out there. -8, that wind chill in Rome itself. -16 up in Watertown, and -21 up at Saranac Lake, even -13 down in Ithaca. Now we factor away the winds in the wind chill, and either way, I mean, you look at these temperatures, it is still bone-chillingly cold out for even mid-December standards. Let's zoom in right here. -6 Otter Lake, -14 in Long Lake, -2 Dolgeville, 0 in Washington Mills and in Westmoreland. Heading south, it's -8 in Sherburne, -2 Cooperstown, and it looks like -2 degrees in Unadilla. Yorkville Battery Live Radar shows we are seeing some minor snow showers near Oswego. That's really about it. We're going to see that snowfall begin to move in as we head toward this afternoon, especially this evening. So you can see here, it's a cold and dry start. Snow showers arrive after sunset. We'll dive into that snowfall forecast and what we can expect throughout the week straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. New overnight after 8 months in.
Welcome back. Time now is 5:11, and just like yesterday, our main focus today is that very cold start. But we're going to start to see more in terms of active weather looking ahead the rest of the week. We'll take a look right here in your forecast in a minute. Current temperature sits at 3 degrees with that Arctic wind chill. Feels like -8. By the way, the sun set at 4:29 today, or right around 4:25 more accurately in the Mohawk Valley. Again, it's a few minutes difference between Syracuse and here. Either way, this is one of the latest sunsets of the year. Following today or the next few days, we're going to see those sunsets get later and later, despite it not being the winter solstice. So there's some bright news in what's a very cold morning out there today. Early this morning, roadways are mainly clear. Reminder, when it's this cold out, the treatment on the roads doesn't really work. The salt and treatment basically lowers the melting point of the ice and snow, but at a certain level, it gets too cold for that to even work effectively. So again, just watch out for some slick spots and some outlying areas early today. Some snow showers well outside of our area this morning, and we're going to see a mainly dry day. Clouds increase, snow arriving right after sunset, and temperatures actually climbing into the 20s during that time frame after a very frigid start. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Snowmobile season opened up in News Channel 2's Nolan Hyman made the trek up north to see how people were spending opening day.
Start your engines. Snowmobile season has returned to Old Forge.
We are more excited for this than people get excited for summer.
We've been waiting for it since the day we put the sleds away, so to get back out here really is awesome.
Friends Nicholas, Robert, and Anthony came all the way from Long Island to what's known as the snowmobile capital of the East.
Yep. 5.5 hours, but it's worth every minute of it.
We've been coming here for years, and there ain't no other place like it.
Yeah, I think me and him at least spent most of our childhood up here riding, so, you know, just good to be back as adults and do our thing, have a great time.
Crews work around the clock to maintain the town's 39 trails spread over 500 square miles.
Do we get many areas in the neighboring towns? They get more snow than we do. We do the best job with that snow.
What do you guys think of the trails up here?
Phenomenal. They really are.
They're really good. They do a good job grooming it and everything throughout the season, too, and keeping it in good shape for us to be able to come out and ride.
The town gets over 3,000 visitors each weekend, and this weekend comes Snowdio, where people come together to kick off the snowmobile season.
The town will be packed. The atmosphere will just be 10 out of 10. People everywhere, snowmobiles everywhere. They do an event down at the rec center.
And even with all the excitement, it's important to stay safe. by keeping an eye on the speed limits posted around town and being aware of your surroundings. To take part in the fun, you can buy your permits here or online at oldforgenewyork.com. Reporting from Old Forge, Nolan Hyman, News Channel 2.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. On this Tuesday, another quiet and cold start to your day today. A live look outside in downtown Utica, where it's still a very frigid morning out there today. Quite a Arctic blast we've been experiencing for the early part of the season. The next dozen hours, we're going to see temperatures climb from the single digits up into the 20s in the mid-afternoon here. You're going to see cloudy skies work in after a sunny morning, and then snow showers arrive roughly between 5 and 7 p.m. So that's the time frame we're expecting that snow to move in. And we look at the bigger picture here. So we have multiple systems we're tracking. Let's start with today. This is a trough moving its way in, basically producing, or a clipper system nonetheless, producing some scattered snow showers. This is not really going to produce a whole lot of snow, except for some of you up north. North of the Mohawk Valley might see 2 to 4 inches. I'll show the map here in a second. The secondary system, this is the more complicated but higher end potential system here, especially again for those of you just north of the Mohawk Valley. Following this, a dip in the jet stream brings in some Arctic air. We're going to see the arrival of some lake effect coming off of both Lake Huron and Lake Ontario, setting up in parts of areas just south of the Mohawk Valley. So when we say we have snow chances pretty much every day this week, we're not kidding. It's going to be a pretty busy stretch. So let's start out with today. Cloudy skies increase. We climb into the 20s. Eventually, those snow showers work in. Additional snow due to upsloping up north. Wednesday morning, 6 a.m., that snow begins. It's going to be initially more of a typical snow, but as we progress throughout the day and the temperatures climb, it's going to turn to more of a wet snow. And hilltops are going to see the highest totals, especially this zone right here where that dark blue is. That's where the highest snow totals are expected. Then we're going to see more of a mixing situation with a sleety mix in the Mohawk Valley, as those temperatures will be too warm to really produce any notable snow showers. Then we're going to see some lingering lake effect begin to move in as we head into Thursday. So if you tuned in yesterday afternoon, we put our initial map today. No major changes. 2 to 4 inches up north, trace to 2 inches down south. And then for tomorrow, for the most part, no major changes as well. 2 to 4 inches in areas south, 4 to 8 or even more in some isolated spots here in that dark blue zone. So that's the expected snowfall. Again, if you want to look at the map in a lot more detail, we always post it on our social media platforms, on Facebook, on our app as well, and on our website, WKTV.com. So following today and tomorrow, we still have some more snow chances Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a pretty busy stretch, Gary, and of course the snow lovers up north are just loving this fresh snowpack.
Yeah, at least this Arctic air overnight is done for a few nights at least.
Yeah, we're going to see some slightly warmer temperatures looking ahead.
Yeah. Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:21. Still ahead. Thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Libator, meteorologist Eric Gage over in the Weather Center. And Eric, boy, is it frigid out this morning?
Yeah, Gary, frigid, putting it even lightly, too. It is a downright Arctic feel out there today. Let's take a look at those temperatures this morning. Wind chills, we are below zero, -8 in Rome, -16 in Watertown, -21 in Saranac Lake, and pretty much you look anywhere on this map here, there's only a couple areas above zero with that wind chill, and that's mainly focused in the Hudson Valley Capital Region. We look at the actual temperatures, and still it's not much of a different story. By the way, Saranac Lake at -21. It might be one of the coldest spots in the U.S. again, which is pretty shocking. Saranac Lake has already taken the cake with 2 coldest days around the entire U.S. so far in the last couple of weeks. But either way, we zoom in here on those temperatures. We are starting out well below zero in areas in the North Country, nearer below zero in the Mohawk Valley, and then, of course, heading south in the Southern Valley, 0 Cherry Valley, -4 Morris, and still looking at 0 degrees in Oneonta. Yorkville Battery Live Radar shows some snow showers out off of Lake Ontario near Oswego. Besides that, it looks like a quiet morning out there. Next 12 hours show temperatures quickly climbing from right around 0 to the 20s, so a slight warm-up today with even warmer days ahead. But along with that, we have some additional snow chances. No longer quiet weather. We're going to dive into that snowfall potential coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. We are continuing to follow some breaking.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to News Channel 2 at sunrise on this Tuesday morning, and I feel like every single time you guys see me here, we got more toys here. A big shout out to all of you sending in your submissions here for toys, and again, you can help us stuff the studio, stuff the bus. Well, you download or you're using the QR code here right below me. It'll take you to the Amazon wish list. Now, it will tell you that some things have already been purchased, but you can still purchase it again. Again, the more toys, the better. Kids always like toys, and again, when these kids see all these toys, the look on their face can be priceless. Again, it's something that we have to thank you time and time again for all your generosity. What makes Central New York great. So, to our photo of the day now, we are looking at a great sunrise taken in New Hartford. Look at this shot here. We've been treated some pretty colorful sunrises over the past couple of weeks. This one was probably one of the nicest we've seen in quite a while. So shout out to the anonymous submitter here with that amazing shot of that sunrise. And if you have one you'd like to share with us, a winter photo, anything that will showcase the beauty of your neck of the woods, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Gary?
Thanks. Authorities in Japan ordered
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Time now 5:49. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We are starting out yet again. Very cold out there. We'll take a live look at downtown Utica, where still very quiet. In fact, one of my colleagues or one of our photographers, Keith, always says when it gets really, really cold, it gets that eerie quietness outside. So he's the one that actually got to witness one of the coldest temperatures ever in New York State back in Old Forge back in the day. So he knows cold, and certainly today, nothing record-setting. We are close to a record of -5 set back in 2005, but so far this morning, we're still above zero technically in the Rome area. We are going to climb above the 20s into the mid-20s by this afternoon, and you can see here snowfall arriving after sunset between 5 and 7 p.m. As you look ahead to the next few days, though, we're going to see some slightly warmer temperatures, especially tomorrow, but that's going to be accompanied by some snow showers. So let's dive into the snow chances. So here's the snow today. It's not going to produce a whole lot of accumulation, but tomorrow's snowfall will likely be more impactful, especially those of you north of the Mohawk Valley. This will be more of a wet snow, and it's going to produce a whole lot more of it due to upsloping in parts of our area. Meantime, some of us might not see any, all due to elevation, and we'll of course show that here in a second. And then finally on Thursday, we're going to see some lake effect response take place off of Lake Ontario toward the middle of the day. So we have a pretty busy stretch of weather looking ahead to the middle of the week. Today, dry, temperatures in the 20s, snow showers arriving after sunset, not a whole lot, light snow if that, and again, most of that snow will fall north of the valley. Wednesday is where we start to see a much more notable system here. This is starting out on the typical snow side, not too fluffy, not too wet, but as we progress throughout the morning, it's going to turn more of a wet snow mix, maybe some sleet mixing in the Mohawk Valley, which is what's going to cause that snowfall to really taper off. Not a whole lot of snow expected to accumulate in the lower elevations. But this zone right here, the dark blue, if you live in here, this is where that highest snowfall is expected, and that'll linger through the evening hours. So day-by-day snowfall forecast. This is for Tuesday. Trace 2 inches in most areas, 2 to 4 in the areas north. And then on top of that, Wednesday morning through Wednesday evening, you can see here 4 to 8 inches, or even some spots in those hilltops even more. A bit less, of course, in the southern valleys, and even a whole lot less in the Mohawk Valley, trace to 2 inches in the Utica-Rome area. So that's what we're expecting for snowfall the next few days. And again, due to the snowfall potential pretty much every single day, we'll put out daily snowfall maps. Anytime we mention that, it's going to be in the 20s with some snow chances, of course, both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But again, the most impactful day, at least today and tomorrow, is going to be on Wednesday for those of you north of the valley. So stay tuned for updates on that. Gary?
Eric, thank you. We are once again asking you to help us. Eric Gage over in the Weather Center, and those firefighters obviously battling a bad situation, but the weather making it even worse.
Yeah, definitely not a morning that's prime for going out early. Yeah, with how cold it is. In fact, we look at the temperatures out there, at least the wind chills themselves. In Rome, those firefighters dealing with a negative 10-degree wind chill. So that is a very cold morning, to put it lightly. Other spots in the wind chill department here, minus 14 in Watertown, minus 21 up in Saranac Lake. The temperature themselves, still very cold. Officially 1 degree in Rome, and still minus 21 up at Saranac Lake. Very cold temperatures up in the Adirondacks. Let's zoom in here, though. We're in the negatives all across the North Country, near zero or slightly below zero in the Mohawk Valley. And then heading south, got some colder temperatures, too. Minus 9 Sherburne, minus 8 Norwich, minus 5 in Morris, and then minus 4 in Cooperstown. The radar picking up on some snow showers coming off of Lake Ontario, but it's heading more in the northward direction near Oswego, and that's really about it. The rest of your area looking dry and sunny for the start of your day today, but clouds work their way in this afternoon. We climb into the 20s, and then snow arrives after sunset. Now, this snow today, really not that impactful, but we have some more snow chances throughout the week. We'll, of course, dive into which days might have some tricky travel, and which days will be fluffy versus wet snow, all that and more straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. New overnight after 8 months.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Today we begin on the, I would say, Arctic side. It is a dry one out there, but watch out for some roadways, and I'll show you what I mean here. So current conditions outside right now sitting at 1 degree, 1 single degree. Feels like negative 10 out there, and I will tell you, going outside this morning, it definitely feels like negative 10. It definitely feels like the Arctic out there this morning, too. And with that in mind, we look at the roadways. Now, as you can see here, we haven't had any snowfall since Sunday night, and there are some roads that still have some snow on them, or at least ice or whatever. The reason for that is due to how cold it is outside. When you have treated roads, salt, brine, any type of that mix there, and you have temperatures near zero, it doesn't matter how much treatment's on there. All that does is lower the melting point, but the melting point still might be above what the temperature is, and at that point, it doesn't really affect it. So in cold temperature days, treatment on roads, not that useful, but still, they are plowed, they are treated, so of course once the temperature rises, all that will melt, or even the sun shines. Live with the radar, things are dry this morning, and we will be expecting those highs to climb into the 20s this afternoon, with snowfall arriving after sunset. We'll dive into that snowfall forecast for today, as well as the snowfall chances the next few days, coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. It is now snowmobile season up in Old Forge. News Channel 2's Nolan Hyman made the trek up north on Monday to see how people were spending opening day.
Start your engines. Snowmobile season has returned to Old Forge.
We are more excited for this than people get excited for summer.
We've been waiting for it since the day we put the sleds away, so to get back out here really is awesome.
Friends Nicholas, Robert, and Anthony came all the way from Long Island to what's known as the snowmobile capital of the East.
5.5 hours, but it's worth every minute of it.
We've been coming here for years, and there ain't no other place like it.
Yeah, I think me and him at least, spent most of our childhood up here riding, so, just good to be back as adults and do our thing, have a great time.
Crews work around the clock to maintain the town's 39 trails spread over 500 square miles.
Do we get many areas in the neighboring towns? They get more snow than we do. We do the best job with that snow.
What do you guys think of the trails up here?
Phenomenal. They really are.
They're really good. They do a good job grooming it and everything throughout the season, too, and keeping it in good shape for us to be able to come out and ride.
The town gets over 3,000 visitors each weekend, and this weekend comes Snowdio, where people come together to kick off the snowmobile season.
The town will be packed. The atmosphere will just be 10 out of 10. People everywhere, snowmobiles everywhere. They do an event down at the rec center.
And even with all the excitement, it's important to stay safe by keeping an eye on the speed limits posted around town and being aware of your surroundings. To take part in the fun, you can buy your permits here or online at oldforgenewyork.com. Reporting from Old Forge, Nolan Hyman, News Channel 2.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Time now 6:18, going on 6:19 early today, and needless to say, it is frigid out this morning. You're going to grab any extra you can. That wind chill well below zero. Downtown Utica, a quiet scene out there. Well, at least weather's pretty quiet. Roads getting a little more active outside early today, too. And the temperatures will be climbing a little warmer today compared to yesterday, going from the single digits or near zero up into the 20s by this afternoon. But notice the clouds here between 2 and 3 turn to snow chances between 5 and 7. So if you're wondering when the arrival time of snow will be, it'll likely be a little bit after sunset. And it's not going to be that heavy. We look here at the bigger picture, and we can see this system moving its way in. It's not going to produce a whole lot of snow, but needless to say, those of you north of the Mohawk Valley are going to see more than just a trace due to upsloping. Then, as we head into Wednesday, we have another system moving in. This one is going to be a little more impactful. This is going to be more of an all-day event Wednesday, starting in the morning hours and lingering through the entire day until the evening. So when it comes to snowfall, Wednesday is a lot more in terms of steady snow. But not everyone's going to see that high total amount that some locations will, and I'll show you why here in a second. Then following Wednesday, we're going to see some lake effect beginning to move in. Not everyone's going to see it, obviously, but we'll keep a close eye on how that shapes up, too. We have a pretty busy slate of weather looking ahead to the middle of the week. So let's look at our skycast here. So today, it's warming up into the 20s. It's dry, clouds increase. Here comes that snow after 5 p.m. It's out west of us. It's going to move its way through the area, and then some still lingering snow showers north of the valley. Wednesday starts out with snowfall in the morning. This is more of a typical light to moderate snowfall at 6 a.m. But the snow becomes a bit more wet and clumpy throughout the day as those temperatures climb a little bit warmer into the low 30s. But notice here, we have this bit of a dry area and some pink and green. We have some mixing taking place. The temperatures are going to be warm enough where we think the Mohawk Valley, really not going to see a whole lot of that notable snowfall from Wednesday's system. So along the thruway corridor in the Utica-Rome area, not seeing a whole lot of measurable snowfall. Then some lingering lake effect takes place on Thursday. No major changes to our snowfall idea we first brought to you guys yesterday afternoon. 2 to 4 inches on Tuesday up north, trace it to south by Wednesday morning. Then from Wednesday morning to Wednesday evening, you can see here 2 to 4 inches in the hills south, trace to 2 in the Mohawk Valley, and 4 to 8 inches with some isolated higher totals in those higher elevations here due to, again, upsloping. So we have a pretty busy stretch of weather with snow chances today and tomorrow and Thursday and Friday and into the weekend. So we'll say this, though, and I think you brought it up last hour, Gary, we're not going to see any Arctic temperatures, at least for the short term. Yes, it's going to get cold here and there, but below zero, not a commonality.
To me, it all feels the same when it's, what, 20 and below, right?
Yeah, at that point, it all feels pretty cold.
Yeah. Eric, thanks. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow once again. And thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Libitor. Meteorologist Eric Gage is running from the newsroom over to the Weather Center to give us an update. There he goes. He is busy trying to put some video for us together of a fire in Rome that we'll tell you about in just a minute. But first, Eric, those firefighters out there are definitely dealing with some cold weather.
Yeah, that's right. And fortunately on the maps right now, again, we're all doing this live right now, so bear with us here. But I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on as we look ahead to the next few days. So right now, temperatures are in the single digits or near below zero, those wind chills. But let's look at the snowfall potential. So as you can see here, we start out dry today, but as we progress throughout the morning hours, we're going to start to see those temperatures climb, and eventually some snowfall begins to arrive as we head closer to sunset. Now, this is the snowfall we're expecting today. 2 to 4 inches, areas north of the Mohawk Valley, trace to 2 inches for locations south. But as we head into tomorrow, we have a much more notable system we're tracking. This is more of a stronger clipper system. Again, nothing very strong, but it's enough to produce 4 to 8 inches or more in areas north of the Mohawk Valley, and then 2 to 4 inches in the light blue zones to the south. So you can see here, all mainly elevation-based, trace to 2 inches in the Mohawk Valley. We'll, of course, dive into this here coming up in a few more minutes. Of course, the timing, more impacts and whatnot. But again, this morning, either way, it is a very cold start to your day. Temperatures near zero in a lot of spots. We're going to dive into that forecast for you coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And as we mentioned, Eric was putting this video together right here. We want to show it to you right now as we're...
Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to News Channel 2 at sunrise on this Tuesday morning, December 9th. And again, this pile of toys continues to grow, and it's all thanks to all of you who have been donating to kids in need here locally. The Stuff the Studio campaign, part of Stuff the Bus. Every single year, your job is to stuff our studio so we can't even walk in it anymore. And we've had some really good years the past few years, and this year especially too. I mean, look at this. I'm running out of space here, and that's a good problem. I want to make sure I can't even move here with the amount of toys you guys send in. So, reminder, if you scan the QR code, it takes you to an Amazon wish list. Some of them might still say that they are already purchased. You can still buy them. The only ones you can't buy are the ones that say they're sold out. And the address is already set up where it gets sent right here. And then later on this month, all these will get sent on the school bus or on the Stuff the Bus and then sent to kids in need. And again, this is a great campaign. We're thankful for all you who do all of this hard work. So to the forecast or the photo of the day today, we are taken to New Hartford of a very vibrant sunrise. Amazing shot sent here anonymously. If you have a photo like this, showcasing the beauty of nature, of the sky, of the snow, you name it, in your neck of the woods, send to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Authorities in Japan ordered evacuations on Monday.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. The temperature today starting out very Arctic-like, and I think that's even putting it lightly. The wind chills this morning across the area. -10 in Rome and in Watertown, -8 in Johnstown, at -21 up at Saranac Lake. Pretty much every location here below zero with the exception of Binghamton, Poughkeepsie, and Albany. So we have a very cold morning out there across the area. And now today's highs will climb a little warmer than yesterday into the 20s. Wind chills still stubborn in the teens. But it does remain dry until after sunset when our snowfall begins to move in between 5 and 7 o'clock. This is from a trough moving in from the northwest, producing a brief round of snow. The better shot for notable snow showers in parts of our area takes place tomorrow, though. Look at this right here. We have a clipper system moving in, but we do have some warmer air working in as well, which will cause some mixing, maybe some huge contrasts in snowfall measurements based off of that, again, elevation-based setup we have expected for Wednesday. Then Thursday, we may have some lake effect in the backside of it. So a pretty busy stretch of weather. Let's dive into it here in our Skycast. So today, it's quiet, it's cloudy this afternoon with highs in the 20s. Here comes that snowfall, 5 p.m. It's out to our west through the area between 7 and 9. And then by Wednesday morning, we begin to see that steady snow in the morning hours, temperatures in the 20s and low 30s. A typical type snowfall, but as we head throughout the morning hours Wednesday, the temperatures climb, the snow gets clumpy and wet, even slushy in some of those roads, especially north of the Mohawk Valley. Can't exclude a hilltop south, though, still due to upsloping. So either way, highest totals will be outside of the lowest elevations. You can still see mixing taking place here with a huge drop-off in snowfall accumulation in the Mohawk Valley. So let's dive into it here. Snowfall forecast, I showed you briefly in the last half hour, but either way, 2 to 4 inches in areas in the light blue, trace to 2 inches in most locations south. Barely anything, I would say. I would lean more toward the trace side than 2 inches for a lot of the area tonight. This is until Wednesday morning. Then from Wednesday morning to Wednesday evening, this is the snowfall expected. Notice here the highest totals 4 to 8 inches of wet snow in the dark blue zones there. 2 to 4 south with some hilltop areas seeing more. And then, of course, in the Utica-Rome area, the Mohawk Valley, trace to 2 inches. Your 7-day forecast, the warmest day of the next 7 going to be tomorrow, barely making it above freezing at 36 degrees. Then we're back down into the 20s by Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. We'll be right back.